Hello, I'm Yasmin Pascual Dormido. I'm a student of COM 380, Advocacy, Communication, and Social Mobilization. For FMA2, I am going to share with you the Impact Plus evaluation framework. I shall be discussing briefly each component, and I will also be showing you how it can be applied in one of the advocacy, communication, and social mobilization campaigns that I was involved in when I was with ABS-CBN. So this is the Impact Plus framework. And this framework was developed to provide a holistic and theory-informed approach to evaluating advocacy communication and social mobilization, or ACSM programs, rooted in the principles of strategic communication, participatory development, and systems thinking. So this framework enables students, practitioners, and organizations to actually assess both the effectiveness and sustainability of advocacy campaigns in diverse settings. So the framework title, Impact, is an acronym actually representing seven core dimensions. So these are intent and issue framing, M for mobilization strategies, for participation and power, A is for adaptation, C for channels and messages, T for tracking outcomes, and then, of course, the last one plus is sustainability. So the first component, intent and issue framing, aligns with the framing theory, which emphasizes how issue framing shapes public understanding and action. So in ACSM, clear, relatable framing determines how communities connect with a cause, and mobilization strategies informed by resource mobilization theory assesses how campaigns actually activate supporters, use social networks, and leverage organizational resources. So participation and power dynamics is all about inclusivity, empowerment, participation across demographics. Also, it's about making sure that marginalized voices are heard. So the theoretical basis are the Communication for Social Change theory, Figueroa et al. 2002. Of course, it emphasizes that sustainable change happens when dialogue is participatory. Now we go to adaptation and cultural relevance. It's inspired by the diffusion of innovations theory by Rogers 2003, which emphasizes compatibility and responsiveness of messages and strategies within specific cultural contexts. So communication channels and message design, on the other hand, draws from audience-centered communication, or communication models that actually underscore the importance of targeting, or targeted, pre-tested, and multi-channel messaging. So tracking outcomes uses, that is T, it uses principles from the theory of planned behavior by Zen 1991, promoting measurable, behavior-oriented evaluation of program goals. And then finally, the last one, the plus, is sustainability. So sustainability, the sustainability aspect is marked as plus. It's based on the stakeholder theory by Freeman, 1984, and the systems theory. It underscores the need for institutional partnerships, long-term funding, and policy integration. So by integrating those theoretical lenses, the impact plus framework ensures that evaluation is not just about metrics, but it's about understanding the broader social, cultural, and communicative processes that determine the success and future of advocacy, communication, and social mobilization programs. It is a flexible yet success or structured tool that can be applied to programs in health, education, child welfare, media, and other sectors in pursuing social change. Now, let me show you how we can actually apply the Impact Plus framework to Bantay Bata 163. Bantay Bata 163 was framed as a child protection and welfare advocacy, tackling urgent issues such as child abuse, neglect, and exploitation. Its use of emotionally compelling messages or narratives like rescue the abused, give them a second chance. This created resonance with public and institutional audiences. So if we apply the intent and issue framing, now this clarifies the advocacy issue, how it is presented to the public, and its alignment with social values. So this issue framing of BB 163 actually aligns with the framing theory, which stresses the power of how problems are defined in influencing public and political response. So if you are applying this on a specific ACSM, then you can use this advocacy evaluation guidelines, like ask whether the campaign clearly frames the issue as a public concern, and if messages are ethically framed to motivate action without exploiting the victims. M for mobilization strategies. Now, this will tell us how the campaign activates stakeholders and to rescue support, and of course to support the advocacy goals. So the program, again, Matay Bata successfully mobilized the public through its 163 hotline and through media visibility and corporate social partnerships. So example, it's through ABS-CBN programs and of course donors. So it also created programs and regional networks that allowed for swift response to abuse cases. So in the case of the regional network group, in the provinces, we had the provincial or the regional stations actually catering to or having their own provincial Bantay Bata 163 desks that actually catered to complaints. They also worked hand in hand with the Women and Children Protection Desk, the DSWD, Department of Social Welfare and Development, the local government units, the congressional districts, and all the other sectors, the non-government organizations, and the private sectors to be able to address the needs of clients. This reflects the resource mobilization theory, which argues that success in social campaigns depends on effective use of available resources, both human and material. So you can use these guidelines, ask if networks of partners and donors are active, or if these people and institutions are mobilized effectively across platforms. Now we go to P for participation and power. So this assesses inclusivity, especially of marginalized groups, and how power is actually shared. BB 163 didn't just rescue children, it involved families, communities, and even survivors in its education, reintegration, and of course, outreach. By involving local government units, social workers, and faith-based groups, it created a participatory, community-based model of child protection. And of course, this mirrors communication for social change model, which emphasizes dialogue, empowerment, and shared problem solving. So you can ask if target communities are part of decision making, or are they only mere recipients? And then if the program empowers communities to sustain change. Now we move to the next component, which is adaptation and cultural relevance. So this assesses whether the campaign is sensitive to local norms, values, and evolving contexts.